Okay, guys, good evening. Today is Friday, January 15th, 2021, the year of after COVID, but still COVID. You're here for the market wrap up with JD and Mo. Nice to see you guys. Thank y'all for coming in. What's good, Mo?
Yeah, man, Happy New Year. I think this is our first one in
It
2021.
might be, man.
Is it?
We've been busy,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Man, on the
Happy New
road.
Year to everybody.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Oh,
it's a good
uh,
life.
the homie came in. Kylan rolled in. That's our boy. Wesley Smith, first
All right,
time.
what's up, Colin?
And so look, we can get right to this point, man. Today, um, I was seeing a lot of okay, a lot of speculation, a lot of anticipation, even with myself, with the new administration coming through. We have anticipation of a new of a peaceful turnover, and the big thing with Biden Harris is okay, the energy bill, uh, the the they're looking at a positive light on the cannabis sector, uh, and so a lot of the solar stocks were trending with EV. But if you notice today, they decoupled. Solar decoupled from EV. EV pulled back, but solar really, really, really pulled back. So one of the things that we're looking at is that we try not to just over anticipate a move prior to a setup. But um, um, you sent me some stocks talking about something with a family member, friend, and the sector. A lot of the things the setup is like we're in anticipation of an event that has not occurred, but not a historical event that we can replicate where price has a history. It's a new, it almost, it's not a black swan, but it's just like, it's an event that we have not encountered. So you have to, you have to be cautious with our steps. Like we can't, I just heard a trader, an instructor mention that he has a friend that said he had 100,000. He read that Neo was going to 75 and it's better. And so he put 100K on Neo. He made 18K out of it, but he held it. Neo pulled back with the pullback. He lost that. He jumped it into GameStop. GameStop ran up. He caught the top move of GameStop. GameStop pulled back. He hopped out of that, hopped into Zoom, and he was catching the tops of all the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And so, gi- give me your take on preemptively, not a historical move that we can track and backdate and backtest, but something where you like, hey man, uh, they should be this should happen because of this, and that's our only criteria. Give me your breakdown on that, Mo. How do you approach that, or how do you?
Um, it's a few like I think about a lot of different stuff when I hear stuff like that. But one of the main things that come to mind is that as well, like we'll see it in the chart. The volume and the candle shapes and those different things will give you indication of the sentiment and what um, the institutional investors believe about the possible future move of that stock.
Mm-hmm.
So if if somebody is just, yeah, hey man, you get in on this one, you know I'm gonna take some time to kind of look at it and kind of like how you say, refer to the left or go to the left and see if that that stock or has had some type of price history that I can gauge off of. I'm very big on support and resistance levels because these prices, it's like, I say all the time, it's like physics. It's like, it's all natural law. These are just like any
Mm-hmm.
celestial bodies. They are subject to force and thrust and gravity. So like, where price was at some time before is going to gravitate to that area again. And depending on how it reacted in that area before can give me an indication on either what's going to happen at that area again or what's going to need to happen at that area again in order for price to do what I needed to do. So it's you still gotta take your time with it, but volume will tell you, the price charts will tell you everything. You will see the volume getting in, and if the candles match up with the volume, and the fundamentals is right, the underlying is right, you will see it in there. And dealing with the cannabis, like you said, it's a situation that hasn't been um confirmed yet, and you can see that in the charts. You can see the uncertainty in the price action in the charts. It hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like that answer because the reason I'm mentioning it, fellas, family, everyone, is because we'll see people put a stock tip or say, I hopped into this, or what about this stock? And you try to find out what's the origin of the pick. And then they say, oh, I saw it on Facebook. Somebody said, hop in this. But you, there's so many caveats, or there's so many uh, different avenues, and we have to understand, okay, is this person getting in for a trade? Are they getting in for a long-term buy and hold? What's the size of this person's account? Are they
Mhm,
willing to risk
mhm.
uh 30%? Are they willing to risk the Players Club? Bernie Mac get 30%? And she said immediately. And she said, when can
Immediately.
I start?
Immediately.
Are you
Right.
willing to risk 30%? And if it does, does that kill your account? That kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
So there's so many things in there. But one thing, Mo, I talk about, and I know you talk about it, that if we set the strategy ahead of time, like, okay, let's just say I want to get into stock, and
I'm so
before I
glad you
buy it,
said that.
I want to say I'm gonna get this stock. I'm gonna hold it for at least a year. That will prevent me from putting this post up. Hey guys, I got into Genius last week when everybody was hyped on Genius and said it was gonna go to the moon, and I
You ain't,
put
bro, we're
five
gonna be in
thousand dollars in there.
2025 talking about Genius Brands, bro.
I put the baby socks and draws money in Genius, and should I sell? But if we set it up prior to, it's not a perfect answer to have that preemptively set our parameters, but it takes a little bit of that monkey off our back when it does one of these over here, a pullback. You say, you know what, I'm exiting, or whatever. So, guys, establish a time horizon for an investment time horizon for the strategy, for whether it's you're investing, you're gonna trade, you flipping it, Mo. Like with Mo and I we have similar evaluation styles, but our our favorite time frames that we connect with are a little bit different at times. But when it boils down to it, we establish we're going to establish a game plan. I want to do
Yep.
this, Mo. You asked me to look up. This is the first stock that you put on the list,
Hmm.
APHA.
Hmm.
Um, this is what I pulled up, guys, because if somebody gives me a stock, a lot of times it's like borrowing somebody's shoes at the gym. Like when you're about to go hoop or whatever, both of y'all might wear 13s. You might wear, and lace them up the same way, but you put your foot in there, and it sits a little bit different. Dude is a little heavy in his heels, man. A little tiptoeing cat on his tippy toes. I can't get a good balance point. That's how it is when someone gives you a stock and we haven't had a chance to vet it. What do you think about that? With
Yeah,
that.
right. Nail on the head, bro. Got it. I mean, man, you make all your money waiting. Like, wait, and, give some time. Evaluate the company. It's lots of ways that you can evaluate a company. I have my particular way. I think it's great. JD has his way. But I always talk about developing your why. Like, give yourself some time to, understand, what's going on with this company and what's going on in the the market climate in general. Before putting your money in. Like, I done lost enough going the other way. So,
And
hey.
okay, this is the one right here. APHA, A APHA Inc.
Hmm.
Inc. Okay, And what I bought, what I pulled up, I looked. One of the first things I saw, it was upgraded recently. Up price
Mm-hmm.
target of 1750. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times you see a price target, and Mo, you can speak to this more so than I, is that those price targets can be 6 to 12 months out a window.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see
Mm-hmm.
it, bam, and then sometimes they'll put a price target on it after the other analysts kind of jump on board and you follow suit, and your price target, they raise their price target, but it's still lower than the current price. But this one currently, price target is 1750. And one of the things that's going on um, is what I picked up, Canadian cannabis. It's a medicinal cannabis sector. So it's a hot sector. Canada is a little bit more liberal with their laws. Uh, on with Investors Business Daily on the Can Slim, it's an A+ on the accumulation distribution. Let's go a little bit deeper. That means there were a lot of over the last week, 2 weeks, they've been buying, and the volume hitting the volume anomaly on. Let me get the amount. So my volume amount 45 million, 45.4 million. But if we look, guys, we have 45.4 million on the 14th of January, very next day. On the 15th, we had 53 million shares sold. We hit the peak.
Exchanged.
We hit the peak, and those people took profit. So the rug is pulled out. We ran in the bathroom. Wifey found out that we went to the strip club with the light bill money, and she wet up the floor and pulled that rug out, and brother hit the floor. Boom. And this to me, we missed the run. It could it could run up again, but if we get in right in here, this is where we start. People start blaming the person who gave them the recommendation. Oh, you told me to get in this stock, and now it's about to go back down and fill the gap. I, we
A, f-
can't.
a few gaps.
It's gap,
Thing might come back down
gap,
to $7.
gap, gap in there, and I don't even want to look any further. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right in here, it's going to come back and sniff structure all down in here, and the volume came in. So guys, look, when we see this angle, look at the angle right now. That's a 90-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
The only way, I mean, you can run up, you can keep running.
It may. It
I
may.
mean, but the what is the probability? Probability is that it's going to go lower than it will go to. It's not going to the moon, man. You can't go to the moon without a rocket. You need Musk. You need Elon Musk to go to the moon. But the point I'm making,
Where's the
and
fuel?
there's and it just sold. Okay, we use the fuel like we had increasing volume over these
That's what's
days
up,
right
Clay.
here. This is key. When you see price go up and you see your volume increase, that's bullish. That's strong. You like to see that. But there's also something called exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
There's also something called a climactic finish to a move. And when you say, let's say we started making this run, the real run broke above, like right in this area,
Mm-hmm. Right
pushed
there.
up, and it got a breakout.
That's the entry.
we had to we had to live with it and decide, okay, because we had a long, nice little base, but when you do that and you see this candle, the largest candle after, like, I mean, weeks, all of a sudden you see just one large candle, that's an exhaustion candle. I mean, you might get that second follow through candle, but cats
And
push
that's
it up.
actually that's a gap up right there because
It
price
opened up
opened, and
here.
that's like
Hmm.
a $2 or $3 gap. It opened up and it closed towards the bottom. Like it that
They
momentum
selling,
gonna
man.
carry over. They selling.
And if we go in further to the 4 hour,
Love the
look
4 hour
look
chart.
at look at that, look at this right here. We don't need the daily. I mean, I love the daily, love the weekly, but we can go a little bit more of a picture. Like, they got up there, they pulled that rug out, boom, some folks shorted that and they taking their profit. I
Mm-hmm.
use the RSI.
Mm-hmm.
I use but you do not need other indicators to see what the chart is telling us.
Volume and candles is it.
It's right in your face.
Everything else
It's
is
just a little bit of icing.
plus. Yep.
You can wipe that icing off, eat the cake, anime. Anybody get that? But Anime. Is Mike?
Wesley, he's using TD Ameritrade, and I use TradingView.
My bad. Sorry about that.
No,
Yeah.
it's all good. Go ahead.
And Robinhood, guys, if Robinhood's cool if you know usher board, if y'all having the fellowship hall and everybody just gonna go after church and got the Robinhood app, you know, Sister Jenkins and everybody. But if you really trying to put your money into it and you people like trading a little bit, you need to get a platform that's built for that, that won't freeze up when a lot of traffic gets on there. Because if you look again, Robinhood tends to freeze up. I love Robinhood for getting that free stock.
Hmm.
But anyway, look, guys, when we see the stock run up and hit peaks at angles, you have to look at a chart beforehand because when obviously when people, what do you think when they when we get the word about a stock, a hot stock, don't you feel the moves already happened, Mo? Like when it
Man,
hits social media?
listen, that's why I gave you one of them stocks earlier today, because that's exactly what's gonna happen. And actually, I give folks this one, the one I put in the DCG Mastermind report, and one of the stocks that's in JD and I's stock scouting report on EVs is Ford. And we put it
Oh,
in the EV report, and I put it as one to watch because it's the EV company nobody's talking about, and it's gonna increase 30% before the Wall Street journals and the Bloombergs and the IBD start writing articles. It's already going to be well into its move. So
let me put
yes,
it on
that's
the screen.
exactly what happens. A move, I mean, not to say that it won't continue to move, but a stock can be a good 20 or 30% into its move before the mainstream media starts covering it and saying, oh, watch this one is a good one to buy because it's been growing the last 3 months and it's increased 30%. I see it all the time.
Look at the chart, guys. Mo and I have been chit chatting, talking about this, and we had the
Since
Rona
maybe
waterfall. Rona waterfall.
December.
Everybody's like bam, 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 and it's kind of chopped around. This is a weekly chart, and
Hmm.
I drew a
Oh,
little
okay, it's
trend line,
beautiful.
and I said if it breaks that trend line, we need to
You're gonna
start
see some
thinking about
accumulation.
Ford,
Yep.
and it was going to fill a gap. And when we say that phrase, all gaps must be filled, it works in both directions. It works to the downside, and it works going back up. And I was looking for if it could climb above like 757, get up near 8, we were going to start talking about it, but it still wasn't a sexy play. But volume was steady during this time, nothing crazy. And think about this, guys. Ford doesn't move a lot. It's a slow, steady mover, and it's just
Hmm.
like, and it's not the one that's like, hey, you wake up, it's up $36 and it's down 115, and it's 34 cents today. It moved 34 cents. So that's good. If your pulse, if your what I mean, your trader psychology is not conducive to big dips and rips, you look for something in your stock portfolio or in the world of stocks. And I'm gonna pull it up on the screen, guys. Y'all know I always mention this is the ATR, the average true range. It lets us know on average what a stock moves through a trading day. And look on
Ooh, look
this,
at that sundown.
8 cents, 8 cents a day. And so people, if you're gonna jump into trading like options, and you don't know a stock is going to, if you don't realize the, I mean, you don't, if you know the stocks, you don't have to just go to the ATR. But when you first start out, you may not know what their average range is. And if you, a lot of people like to buy those out of the money calls and puts out of the
Hmm.
money, and they buy
Hmm.
that weekly, and they might have 3 days for that thing to go $8, and the thing moves 11 cents, and you're like, so if God so loved the world, he made this stock move 11 cents a day, and I need to get $8. Uh,
Right.
Genius
In
go.
3 days,
It's not gonna
it ain't
happen,
gonna
man.
happen.
Uh-uh.
It ain't gonna happen.
But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you look at the ones right here where we have Amazon
Amazon.
moves 66 racks a day. It's, you can go to the bathroom, be up $100, come down, you be back, you down 600. You know, so we have to know what to expect when we hop in those. Did you ever look at the ATR, or you already had a feel for the
No,
moves?
no, I guess just kind of knowing candles and studying candles, I get an idea of how, it moves across time.
I mean,
Um,
we watch price action.
mhm.
So
So you can kind of get an idea, like, and that's something that, I kind of go over with traders as far as how I look at trends, and when I make an entry, how many candles I'm expecting, for the trend to, take place and possibly get to my point. Like, it's gonna be 3 to 5 candles on average. So, if I'm looking on a weekly chart and 3 to 5 candles, it only moved $2 or $3, I can't expect it to move $8. You know what I mean? Or even on the daily chart. If it's five, on average, 5 candles move, $3 or $4, and I'm trying to get a
mhm.
trade, overnight, is it's not gonna happen. So
Okay, what about this? You get you, we got the ATR. You're looking at everything moving, but here's something that catches people off guard. We got the SPACs coming out. We got the special purpose acquisition companies coming out. They people are doing direct listings, but then now the IPO flow is coming back, and I keep seeing people try to hop into an IPO. And will you give your spill on the reason what goes down with an IPO being that on exit, man? Because people try to catch it when they have the listing price. It says it priced at $45. That mug opens 90. So I just think there's a risk if your entire portfolio is every time an IPO comes out or a penny stock, that's a dangerous game because consistency is not found within that realm. You could set a small portion aside and play it, but I really, you know, I'm gonna let you please tell the masses about your breakdown of what IPOs are for the market.
all right. So, like, IPOs, from an investment banking standpoint. All right. So investment banks are the companies that actually bring these companies to the market and have them IPO. I'm not going to go into the technicality of what happens with the shares and all of that, but the investment bank is the one that brings the company to the IPO. When y'all hear about, let's say, before a company actually becomes, a public company before IPO, something like how Airbnb was a couple years ago, Lyft was a few years ago. Like, you will hear that they, secured a round A funding, or they
Hmm.
secured a round B funding for such and such millions or such and such billions. And that means that investors invested monies in that company at that time. And when those private investors invest in that company, they are expecting a return on their investment. And how they calculate that return on their investment, what they for a private company, for a private equity company, though, that's who usually invest in those companies before they IPO. A private equity company, they make their money on what are called exit events. And a lot of times, an exit event is either a sale to another company or an IPO, meaning that the people that's been in before the company IPO, they pretty much selling like when the company IPO, like that that's how they're cashing out on their investment through the company IPOing in the public, giving their money to the investment bank, and the investment bank giving it to the company. So it's an exit event. Just that in general, makes me apprehensive on, doing any kind of, trading, day trading, whatever, with an IPO, because it has not proven itself to the public market. I often tell, especially long-term investors, if you're looking at an IPO, like, the whole idea of a corporation is that it's an ongoing entity. It's never going to end, it's never going to die, it's going to continue on. It's a going concern. That's the word I was
There's your
looking for. It's
phrase,
a going
boy.
concern. Meaning that unless it go bankrupt, basically it's gonna keep going. Meaning that because it's a going concern, you got time to let the company prove itself. Either it's going to keep going and it's going, eventually either, do good or maintain and pay good dividends, or it's going to go bankrupt and you don't want to be in the company anyway. So, give it some time to prove itself. A lot of times the first 2 or 3 earnings are choreographed, for lack of a better word. So give the company 3 or 4, earn, which means 3 or 4 quarters, a year and a half, to let investors kind of get a feel of the stock. If you're going to trade the stock, I was just reading an IBD, and I'm actually going to start looking into this strategy. They have an IPO strategy in IBD, but it still goes
At
into
that
what we talk
base.
about, and you have to let it establish a base. Establish a proper base, identify that proper base, and wait for the breakout point from that base. So regardless, getting in on IPO day, I mean, unless it's a sweetheart stock, something, you own a bunch of Airbnbs and you just got to own the stock too, like, just give it some time. Like, you will be better for it in the long run.
Oh, that's perfect, man. And shout out to Jared Kushner and Rudy Giuliani said that black folks just don't want to learn. And what did you hear him break that down? You hear that man break that
Nah,
down?
I tune that stuff out, man.
No, hey, I'm just saying it.
I
I'm
only
just
get
saying.
good stuff in my ears,
I,
bro.
I'm Good point, Mo. Good point. But sometimes that stuff fuels me. It doesn't stop me. It makes me like, okay, I got you, Playboy.
Hey,
Okay, man.
that
We're gonna get back.
DCG morning formula. A couple
Good
people in here
point.
might know about that. Hey, man, it's only good stuff coming in me, man.
Good point. Good point, Mo. Uh, Shout out to my wife. She's in the room. Luana Ellaby had to give a shout out. Hey, baby. Thank you for coming in. Okay, next one. We're on to APXT. This was a blank check, a SPAC. Apex Technology. One of the things, this is another play on a possibility.
Mhm.
All the SPACs are possibilities
Possibilities.
because the mergers. Now, there's another thing. Now, the only SPAC group that maybe gets my money, which it hasn't, is Chamath Palihapitiya. I can still can't do the dude's name. You know the guy that owns he owns Golden State Warriors, but he has all the SPACs from IPOA through IPOZ, and he's a technology innovation and is disruptive innovation guy. He's the one who said Kathy Woods on point. He said you bet on keen management and innovation and new products that have a great management team and and a big moat. So
Mhm.
I trust his layout, but still, the SPAC layouts, everybody's betting. The bet or the hope or the wish is that when they do merge, this thing skyrockets because we saw a couple of them go up like $36 or $86 in a day. But if that's what we're playing for, I have to catch myself sometimes when I get in a big mover. But if that's our strategy, it's all on hope. There's nothing that we can quantifiably put together and say, okay, I did X, Y, Z, and I'm going to do X, Y, Z again, and I'm going to do X, Y, Z again. And if I lose money, I lose money on but the probability that I can repeat this, if this pattern occurs, and this and these certain market factors present themselves like the like one of the strategies you and I have been talking about for the last 2.5 weeks. We keep that in close to the heart, but anyway, I just you have to test a program out and see what the results are. And with the SPACs, it comes down to right here. Here's some of the notes that I got on mine. There's a planned merger with AVE Point. Um, the the pivot. Okay, it's the largest. One of the things that they liked about this that popped these guys the other day on the 11th and the 12th was that AvePoint or AvePoint is the largest data management solutions provider for the Microsoft Cloud, and it caught wind. But that's just that's short-term excitement because we run up here, sell off, ran up same area, sell off, same area again. We had a gap up. We're gonna fill it. I wrote down gaps on the price levels of 1530, price levels of 1125, and also the $16 handle is the pivot for a possible yank down. And we go down if they exit, and it's not a lot of heavy volume. I mean, it's like 5 million, but you saw
All the volume was on the initial selling from the
from
first gap up right
the
there.
gap up.
They got that, all that volume just fell off a cliff.
So we let me just go back, guys. And Mo preaches volume, sentiment, timing. If we look at this our first uh our first stock, we saw the volume anomaly. Like we see that, like low levels. All of a sudden, you got some selling. You get the big one. What was the amount?
It was like 50 something million,
Well,
40, 40
we
something
got
million there, and 50.
45.4 million. Next
Um,
day, 53 million in selling pressure. Day before that was 24 million. So I mean, we doubled it. And so we go to the one that we just had on the screen. Uh, there's no volume. No, there's nothing that's pushing that volume to where you say we got to get in this. So um, I was I was very cautious, and the notes that I wrote down was we missed the move, and it would have had to been a lucky. There's nothing in this chart that would say, hey Mo, let's build a position in here and kind of wait.
mhm,
I, it's all on hopes and dreams, man. And only way to do it is if we were in the private sector and we were bringing this company public
mhm,
ourselves. If we were in, and we would be exiting right up at this
mhm.
thing.
At the
And,
same area it's at now.
and just like the one of the initial investors for Nikola sold every one of his shares yesterday or today. So when you see people divest themselves of a company of shares, uh, the move happened. The they made their money on the entry, really, because we couldn't. The public can't catch what the private sector has access to a lot of times. The final one, Mo, and just let me know, man, because you asked me to take a look at these. I I see nothing to say. Hey, man, let's hop in this. I see something that says let's hop out of this,
Mhm,
and there really wasn't a move to miss for me here.
mhm,
I just think late to the party on the first one. This is a lot of choppy uncertainty, and we see a lot of charts like this. And I'll do SNDL, and I'm gonna pass it on to you, man. Sundial, this falls into the line of the Biden. I put it down as the Biden Harris 420
mhm.
Parliament funkadelic play, man, because this
P-Funk.
the P Funk chief. Everybody's waiting for that. They're waiting for the 2 grams of funk to come in the first 100 days, and we don't know what's going to happen because they said the
Right.
first focus is going to be the stimulus and the vaccine rollout. Try to push on that. So, I mean, of course, this is under $1. Yeah, I mean, if you just believe in Sundial, go with it.
Mhm,
I can't say get away from it because this might be $4 next year, or it might be 14 cents. But if you're feeling it, you become the expert in this sector with this company. Go to the website, look for any not just commentary, but you look for anything you can find that historical information about the company founders, what their any roadblocks, any headwinds, any tailwinds that are coming. We know the tailwinds, or we're anticipating a positive move in this sector because of the new administration. But I put down one positive thing that Sundial has. They have a new product, some new concentrates that may be big, but I mean, they just issued a mixed shelf offering or a shelf offering. So they offered new shares to the market, so it diluted the price recently,
mhm,
and
mhm.
um, it the accumulation distribution is an A minus, 76 million market cap. The charts just, if you like it, you can't trade it. You can't trade it. If you like it, if you think the cannabis sector is good, and you're like, man, I have $136. I want to participate in the cannabis sector. I'm gonna get Sundial. That's my way of picking this one, even though this volume is something that caught my attention back when we were talking about penny stocks. I was like, let's see if this goes up, and it really never went up. I mean, look at the volume on that. That's a volume anomaly. You had 2 billion, 2 billion shares bought, and the next day had 1 billion sold. I is a big volume anomaly. I think that the real short term move happened right in this little in November. So we're just kind of watching that. I mean, that's a little baby cup and handle, but it's it's kind of it's bearish to me. I mean, it's a lot of dojis, indecision. Well, anything outside the box on that mode that you have? Because I want to
Mm.
pull one more chart up and then
Well,
pass it.
it's under $1. That ain't even on my radar. So,
Yeah,
it like it's one of those. If you believe in the company, great. If you're in it because you're banking on marijuana to cannabis to increase because of the administration, hold it and wait on some certainty from that administration. Wait for them to put it on the Congress calendar and say that it's going to be something that they're going to talk about and discuss, and then you will be able to uh, more confidently um, place an entry based on this kind of uptrend. Right now, it may just consolidate and say, I don't know what it'll do, but still, it being under $1 is not necessarily one worth trading. I mean, it's
yeah.
other stuff out.
Well, okay. We talk about the cannabis sector. I've been tracking Aurora for a good minute. I liked what I saw, and I saw a base forming in Aurora. It stayed. It just stayed there, and all of a sudden we got that volume anomaly back. Oh my, yeah, that was a billion. That crazy volume anomaly on
Mhm.
November 6th. Wait a second.
Election day.
Yeah,
hmm it's still
461 million.
it's still all based on the Democrats coming in.
and
That's the only thing this volume is based on. So
and
we
what
still need we need some confirmation.
Well, I tell you this, man. I hopped in at a good point when and I started building a position. Uh, I built a position. I was like, my base had a base breakout. I let it pull back, and I said, okay, uh, if I was in for the election prior to the election, but I said, okay, if we get the blue wave in Georgia, we'll get a pop. But I am looking for my exit. I'm up probably 60%, but I will wait for the inauguration to see, buy the rumor, sell the news to see, and I'll put a trailing stop in to exit. And if it's time to, in my Roth IRA, I do have a long-term buy and hold on this, but I'm also trading this company too. And I've caught enough moves, and we're coming up to a little bit of level of resistance and uncertainty. Let me just see what happens. We had a pullback today, but I don't want to guess and say if this does this. I want to be able to have my layout to where it's time to get out and keep moving, guys.
Mhm.
Same with Tilray. But
Yep.
go ahead, man. You need the screen.
Nah, you could keep the screen up. I don't. I was going through some charts and I just kind of had some general points, but
Okay,
just kind
okay.
of going through the chat.
Same thing, Tilray.
Antoine, yeah, with Tilray, with all of them, it's the same thing. The fundamentals. Fundamentals matter. No matter how much we look
Mm-hmm.
at the charts. And in DCG, we go by fundamentals, and it's always what is underlying, what's the underlying sentiment of the market and of that stock. That's part of fundamentals. So the fundamentals for all the cannabis stocks is all the same, and until we get some certainty from this administration, they it's going to be little news blips that move it up and down, but it's not going to make a consistent, good move for a consistent amount of time until we get that certainty.
Yeah.
Um,
My, my take, man. You said it before. Okay, let's say we have electric vehicles or EV versus cannabis. I mean, we don't have to. It doesn't have to be a versus, but the only the only headwind, the major, and it's a major headwind for cannabis, is the fact that um, it's still listed as a narcotic. It's a schedule by the it's federal. The it
They
it's a
got to
federal
change that.
crime, and so
And
when
even for the Canadian companies, they need our money in our markets. So that's why all the Canadian companies are so they're in this conversation, because if they other Canadian company, like, they got a stock market and it's a bunch of Canadian companies, but they need our market. Like, they can't do everything in Canada for cannabis. So
and
yeah.
that's the only headwind. It's a major headwind. So right now, the stocks that I do feel the EV sector is the one that has the strongest tailwinds, and also has a chance to. You can go down multiple avenues. We put it in the stock scouting report. You don't have to just focus on the vehicle itself. You can focus on the components. You can focus on the energy. You can focus on uh, the distribution, the charging network. You can focus on just the innovation, the battery tech, whether we're going to go hydrogen, we're going to go single cell, we're going to go, Neo is doing the battery swap. We're going to go stackables, or we're going to take cobalt out of the battery. Are we going to, which is it's a tougher play, but there's human rights issues that we talked about in the penny stocks over in the Congo, where they're mining cobalt with children. So you want to find out, are you moving away? Are you going towards a cobalt free battery? Things, those are the questions that you want to ask if you're going along as a long-term investor. To me, that's the stuff I ask my.
And
Go ahead.
if I could just put a little icing on that cake, like, man, y'all ain't gotta reach too far for EVs, man. Ford and GM gonna return. Believe it. Y'all can mark that. Y'all can timestamp that one. Ford and GM going, like, and I say that because I guess, as far as like what I got to say on the market. Real quick before I go into that, you asked about Macy's and what Macy's fall into the IPO situation. No, because Macy's is a long-standing company. Like, it's been here forever. Like, IPOs is ones that, like Airbnb, that just happened. Those are the type of companies that I'm talking about when they first kind of come on. Give them some time. And Macy's been here for like ever. But
Macy's had time to do it.
yeah. But just going, in general about the market, I think that we may go into some headwinds in general for the general market. Starting to see signs of selling
Some
going on,
topping.
starting to see signs of rotation as this administration is coming in. As Biden is talking about his economic plan, there are concerns for taxes being raised, which is making investors, take profits and rearrange where
Fleet of
they're putting their
safety.
funds. The talk with the Federal Reserve, possibly reducing how much they're putting on the balance sheet. It's been several Federal Reserve governors that are in favor of reducing, the balance sheet, basically meaning that they're going to reduce the rate that they're buying stocks, because they're the ones that's buying all the stocks, really. It's some headwinds coming for the market. So with that coming, a lot of the companies, and as y'all can see, that's been doing well 2021. I mean, sorry, 2020, 2019, 2020 have all been like tech stocks, these EVs, like, just kind of like growth and excitement and possibility stocks. As these different things start to come into play, and as kind of JD alluded to earlier, with planning out investments, mutual funds, hedge funds, institutions, they plan out what they're gonna buy by the quarter, by the half a year, by the year. So they start positioning for what they're expecting, next quarter, 2 quarters from now, 3 quarters from now. And if the sentiment is going to be less towards high flying growth stocks, I really believe that the sentiment is going to adjust more to those companies which are considered value, but those companies that basically have stronger balance sheets, that have
Mm.
more stable sales, more stable margins, and not just based on hope. The only caveat may be biotech with research and development. They kind of in a different field, but
And you
in
need some
general,
time
I
on that
believe,
one.
yeah, they're those two. But in general, I believe that most the stocks that are going to flourish and continue to flourish, especially in the SPAC space, are in the EV space, are the ones that are not just let's get on some hope and let's get some money and try to put something together. No, like Kathy Wood said, it's the ones that have the teams in place, they have the management in place, they have products in place, and they have the people behind it to push it, and they have the financial backing on the balance sheet to push it. Those are going to be the companies that are going to in my opinion, 2021, 2022, going into second quarter, third quarter, those going to be the companies that are going to move. So Ford and GM, yeah, I keep
Hmm.
them on the radar for your EVs.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Um, uh, Tyrese asked about Tilray. Tilray had a move. I'll go back to it. It had a big move, and I think Tilray is just a little overextended. But I mean, but still, we're in that period right now where that pullback doesn't mean it's going to come back down here. It could just be a 50%
Mm-hmm,
retracement,
mm-hmm,
but it's extremely overbought, which again, that doesn't mean it's going to go down, but it just lets us know, hey, we're extended, have a little exhaustion, but that's a big that's a big selling candle right there. That's a big the volume on that was 98 million. The buying pressure was 82 mil, previously 51. Uh, I think Tilray is going to come down, but I think Tilray is going to be it if the tailwinds come in for that sector, it could it could pull back and run, but then we are running into it to previous resistance, Tyrese. So if I can get the screen right, like previously, the last time we were up here, we this was a topping area, kind of went down, and we're at a point of reckoning from you can call it a supply zone, but it's not heavy supply, but it's just previous. It's support and resistance. It's just a previous
mm-hmm,
area of where price action had a little bit of life and a little bit of they let's see a congregation of folks. I'm trying to get give or take right in there. I mean, I could color it however I want to, but I mean, I just when we come up in this area, this is the area. Previously, we kind of hung around in there, really couldn't get above it. It poked in there, and I'm putting that there because all the candles kind of stayed in this little area, and then previously we sold off and we came back up here, and we can't breach this area. It became resistance. It became an area of like, okay, hmm. And then next time we couldn't get there, and then Rona hit. The base was built. This is a big base. I like the base.
mm-hmm,
Breakout with volume, selling pressure. It doesn't mean it's going to go back down. It's just like it tested it again, and hey, it can't break through right now. So profit taking is not a bad thing right here unless you're long term, and that goes back to the first thing we talked about was investment time horizon. If it's
mm-hmm,
an investment time
mm-hmm,
horizon, you're like, cool, this is a pullback. This is a pullback I expected.
mm-hmm.
And if I find a little bit of support, we get back in. But there is a gap. Guys, look, there's certain companies like AMD. AMD is gonna fill every gap it leaves behind.
The redhead stepchild.
It's gonna fill the gap
What's
and
up
right.
with Brisky? I need to hit
Yeah, we got to
her up,
catch up with
man.
our girl, man.
Yeah.
Look right here. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen, and it may happen during when earnings come out because we're going in. We just stepped into earnings season, and you saw the banks get
Mm-hmm.
hit. They got hit. So if you guys are gonna hold something through earnings, make sure it's something that you're holding for the long term so you can recover.
Yep. All these stocks been going up. Profits about to be taken. Even if especially if they
Even
beat,
if it's a good,
if
that's
it's a
what
beat, they
Cecilia said.
expecting it and they gonna sell and take profits. So yeah, I'm
I'm,
expecting the next month to be a little red. I'm already seeing signs. So
but I'm gonna tell Cecilia because Cecilia's pretty good with keeping up with news and like APHA beat estimates. And
mhm.
for me, that means nothing to me when I'm trading because if it beats estimates, that doesn't mean that we're gonna get a positive boost. Just like Mo said, it beat
Mhm.
estimates. Well, beat estimates, people may take profit. And then eventually it may continue back into its, like we might get trend continuation, but over the short term we may get reversal. And it beat estimates, projected earnings, EPS, EBITDA, EBITDA, all that. it, if you're into it in a short term window, the earnings event is an unknown event. We can't predict what that man is going to say on, or the woman or this, on that conference call, Mo. You know how you always say you get the beat, earnings beat, top and bottom, and then they come to the conference call and say, well, we're going to pull forward guidance and we're going to cut our dividend.
That's almost the worst thing you can hear, bro.
They say, what? And
Man, look.
you start seeing that price tick, 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 and then the big red candle come down and the mark it's after hours or before hours and you can't do anything.
No
So,
earnings. At
so
least earnings day. Nah. Nope.
okay, here's the strategy. One of the strategies I'm playing it right now with Tesla. I've played it before. It's the 14 or 21 day prior to earnings because it comes into now you need to have back tested where previous, like where the last three earnings were earnings beats and Tesla has kicked tail. They have beat um, they have beat earnings. They have had glowing earnings the last couple of times. Their deliveries were up, and the big thing was is that Elon he has a strategy. If they're going to meet deliveries or going to have a good earnings, he'll have it in January for the fourth quarter. He'll say it'll be January, the last Tuesday, the first last Tuesday of the month of January, or he would have pushed it to February 2nd if it was going to be kind of a negative one. They put it on January 27th. So people, are positioning themselves, but what you're looking for is to capture the run up into earnings and you try to jump off on the move up prior to because unless that's a trade, that's not the buy and hold long term strategy. But if you buy that lottery ticket the day of or the day before, and you just hold it and you holding the ticket and you just waiting, it's flipping a coin, it's rolling the dice. I mean, you could hit, but just be cautious so that either the 21 day prior to, 14-day prior to, even a 7-day, you try to catch a momentum push. And it's just a little bit more to that, but I'm just saying the day of, you just don't know what's going to happen and what sometimes S&P inclusion, all of a sudden Tesla was moving up and I watched Twitter. Rumor Mill came out and they said there are not enough shares for the for the fund managers or those funds, the S&P funds, to not enough available shares of Tesla. And they're going to say how they're going to do this because the long-term holders are not selling. So they started floating a rumor out that there was going to be a share offering. Bam! All of a
Sure
sudden,
enough was.
he did the share offering, and that price level sunk down, and they said people panicked, but guess who hopped in?
All
The
the
hedge fund
institutions.
managers, institutional buyers, they bought that thing at the low, and it has not stopped running.
The big money.
And
Gotta follow the big footprints.
so the point I'm making is like you can catch a rhythm, you can catch I pay attention to news. I look for a news catalyst, guys, and I know Mo. I call him in the morning or whatever, and he's been reading for 2 hours, and it's not reading like opinion columns. You we got to dig into the sector, like the people who what's your thing is they make money to make money for millionaires or whatever. It, that's they make millions by making millions for billion, whatever. So guys,
Great and fund management letters.
I'm I'm gonna get this one chart right here, guys. This I got a wedge. I mean, I have I got a bull wedge right now, guys, right here for Tesla. I'm looking for a wedge break, and earnings are on the 27th of January. After the bell or after the market, I believe. I need to verify that again, but it's just a pennant, and this is the. It's the same as a flag pattern, bull flag, or you can just say it's a wedge. So the run up, an amazing run up, filled a gap. There's a couple. There's a tiny gap, and I believe that gap's going to be filled probably after earnings, after people take profit. But it's going to be price consolidation. It's going to break out or break down. I'm looking for the breakout, and if it breaks above this little area right here, that little 863, 864, it, it has never been in that range before. And I measured it out.
But I hate about all-time highs. I'm gonna put a Fed fan on Tesla to see get some price
I put my
price
measurement on there,
icons.
and I know. Shout out to Larry Williams, 1-to-1
Word.
move. 968 is the range that I projected for that move.
Mm-hmm.
My previous area was a projection prior to the move, and it hit it, and it hit that thing and shot through it like a '90s baby daddy going through the project. Okay. Anyway, '90s baby daddy boy, we were something else. But anyway, um, did you put your head down and laugh, man? But hey, my wife told me real quick, guys. My wife told me, I was like, baby, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't. She said, I know. That's why I can't stay mad at you very long, because I didn't mean to. So I was thinking, like, did I forget to put a stop in? Guys, that's something we have to do. Is that we have to manage the amount, the sizes of our trades or positions, and we have to set your risk parameters, because if we get going so quickly and doing a lot of things, we'll forget to protect ourselves or protect our capital.
Happened to
And
me plenty of times.
then by the time we know it, we'll say, well, man, it's already gone past my stop. I might as well keep it. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's gone even further. Well, you know what? Hey, that then the mug say charge it to the game. You like, wait a second. I do not. I'm tired of charging to the game. That's, so we have to come up with a program, guys. So don't risk. Don't just take the plays. Don't just go with something that's projected to beat earnings or IPOs. Is it that could be a portion of your strategy, but
Mhm.
it can't be the bulk. It can. I can't say can't, but for consistent returns, you know. And I like this past week, man. I had a solid week, but started off on Monday with a neck. I had a red day, man, and I got quiet. You get real quiet, and I got quiet because I got stopped out, and I made my position size a little bit bigger than I like. And I set my stop, and it hit me, and it shut me up, and that let me know that was a little too big. They said if you're constantly thinking about your position after the market closes, trade a size that's not going to weigh on your mind. And I was like, okay, yeah, it
Yeah.
got me. And I adjusted and came back, but I think, guys, if we have a community like this,
Mhm.
uh, someone to bounce ideas off of. Mo, how big is that for? I know you have your DCG family.
It's
You had
everything.
the Scouts, Stock Scouts family, our
Yep.
group. Uh,
Yep.
I
I
need.
always say it's everything because this is exactly what Morgan Stanley does. This is exactly what Barclays does. This is exactly what Citadel Investments does. Like they have their crew of people that talk about exactly kind of like community. They have their community within that company, and talk about their trades together. Look at the market together, and all you know, uh, at least want to be successful traders and new traders and experienced traders and everybody giving ideas. So yeah, man, Colin, you speaking the language, you know what's up. And it's never about trading by yourself. You don't ever want to trade by yourself because once we get out of this technical stuff, this stuff is the easy stuff. This the 15-20% of trading. The other 80-85 is psychology. You know what I mean? And being able to have, a crew around you, and especially something like, what we provide in Stock Scouts and what we provide in DCG, to help keep that, that mentality on point. You know, that is what, is what it's about when in trading. When you in that position and it drop and it drop and it drop, what do you do? Uh, hey, that's what it's about. So, and I definitely appreciate you. And you don't want to unless invest long term by yourself. I mean, any kind of investing or any kind of trading, you don't want to do it by yourself at all. So and then to Cecilia's point about the strategy with the earnings, yeah, that is a good strategy. That's actually more well, not more. That's actually a less risky way to trade earnings is before earnings and after earnings. There's actually um, a decent amount of financial literature, empirical literature on what's called post earnings announcement drift and how the stock moves based on earnings. So y'all can look that up. Those are better ways to trade earnings. And if you do, use either one of them trades, a little caveat to that, don't just look at the previous quarters, look at the previous year's current quarter. So if you're looking at, Tesla this year and you want to try to, use that strategy, don't look at, September's quarter. Go look at, fourth quarter from 2019 and fourth quarter from 2018, fourth quarter from 2017. That will give you a more accurate idea of how Tesla will price action will do based on fourth quarter 2020. So yeah, just a couple caveats there.
Guys, I posted the link to the Stock Scouts, our Facebook group. Stock Scouts is in there. My email is in there also, JD at Your Mobile Trader. I know Mo's gonna drop his in there, but
Sure.
guys, I always do the line. If you want if you want to be if you want to join a crew where you can your executive producer ain't all up in your
All up
videos
in your videos.
dancing, all up in your face shaking. Come on over to the Stock Scouts, man. We're not
Telling you
gonna
just to buy something without
yeah,
giving you
tell you to
any
buy something.
indication of what and why and how. Uh,
Right. If
come on over to Stock
if
Scouts.
you ask a question and they say, well, what you asking that for? I do
Right.
feel like that sometimes. But no, if somebody asks that question, it, it we're gonna try to answer it. But guys,
Mhm.
there's a couple of websites to go to. One of the main ones that can help you to hack it is Investopedia. I'm pronouncing it all the way. Investopedia.com. It you can type in topics, phrases, just different things. So like if you're listening to a YouTube or a video or a session or a show like this, and if you I used to like write down phrases that caught my attention, like going concern was one that Mo uses, and I like that phrase. Or I like uh, IPO, SPAC, or we go down to shelf offering, mixed shelf offering, things like that, calls, puts, all that stuff. We can create our own vocabulary, study it, and you come back with more evolved, more sophisticated questions that sometimes we answer our own questions, and then so guys, it can be done. Just you can establish your investment time horizon and continue to study, continue to save your money. Don't just put the money into the market to trade. Now, if you're going to invest long term, take your time and be your own expert, man. Peter Lynch talks about that all the
Mhm.
time. We can be our own expert. If I if you like Nike, if you know what the Nike uh, symbol means, if you know Phil Knight's history or their latest uh, tech. Like my son is big in the chip sector. He knows about NVIDIA, the fact that NVIDIA and AMD have been outpacing Intel until the most recent run where Intel has made a push because they made a strategic uh, connection. Shout out to Ro Brooks because she loves Intel. Uh, Little things like that, guys. Or Tyrese and her family jumped on Alcoa early when we had one of our classes and the chart was bad, but she had her strategy down of a long-term buy and hold, and it's made its return. So establish a strategy. Don't worry about who's up in your face, and they're saying, well, what are you getting that for? What's that about? Um, be your own expert. That's my final words, man. So
Yeah.
I say, but
All right, well, I'll put a couple links in the chat. Most of y'all really can, reach out to me. Just get me through Facebook. That's one of the best ways to reach out to me. I put in the chat link to the DCG Mastermind. If you want uh a completely different experience to your trading that's unlike anything, reach out to me. If I have any DCG Mastermind people in here, y'all can put in the chat what I'm talking about. Like it is what it is. I also put a link in there to the mastermind report. You just like that. I also put a link into our January stock scouting report
yes,
for
yes.
EVs. Make sure y'all get that if you want, some great analysis and introduction on how to get with the EVs. And I also put in a link that for the charting course that JD and I are having on the 24th and the 25th. If you find yourself in a position where you're looking at these charts, you're looking at these candles, and you scratching your head and it look like French, we're gonna teach you French. And we gonna do it real well.
I
So
say
talk
we
about these entry points and these bases and all the volume price analysis, like all of those different things. Y'all
wedge
get to do.
patterns. Oh
So
my.
um,
Well, look, guys, Mo
yeah,
dropped them all in
DCG is
there.
awesome. Yeah, y'all,
Um,
man. See, it
that
is what
that
it is.
charting class. I we were hoping to have another one, man, but I think baseball season's coming up to
Hmm.
me, and I'm getting started again, guys. So this is going to be the last class until
Hmm.
the fall, and
Hmm.
but we're going to take 10. We'll be able to do 10, and uh, I, you're going to understand. The idea is to get you comfortable to where you can pick up patterns, and then you can fish on your own. But it's not going to
Hmm.
be in a 2-day session. You come out of let's make a million. It's like, okay, let's build upon that. I have the foundation in
Gotta have
place.
charts for breakfast.
And just Malcolm Gladwell talks 10,000 hours, but I mean, we can hack that system. But I mean, when I say you still got to get the hours in, but you can, whether you're listening to it, you're watching the video, or you're looking at it yourself, you're learning a new language. We want fluency in the charts, fluency in the market. And that just comes with getting on calls like this and then
Yep,
talking to our family at the dinner
good time.
table. They might be bored, but our children, man, they're going to be able to come into this market and be able to step in and not and we can hear something. You hear someone talking about it, and we can filter, vet, and decide like makes no sense, or you know what, they're talking about something. Let's move. Let's see if we want to make a strategic partnership or whatever.
Hmm.
It, right now is the time because uh, black, brown, everyone, the barriers for entry have been removed.
Completely. It's just an account number now.
Account number, and they don't know the race, creed, color.
It's
If
all on.
you gold fronts, you missing the front, you got the couch on the porch trading them with the cell phone. Let's do it, guys.
Uh,
So, hey,
and now, real quick, to add on to that, because I know Miss Marsha probably can attest to this one, and you can as well. Charting is not just for day traders or intraday traders. The more you understand the price charts, it will make you a much better long-term trader. You can set these charts to look out weeks or months or years. And if you're adding to your 401k, or adding to an IRA, and you want to get in a position, there's ways you can view the charts and look at the charts to make sure that you're still getting into a position that has a trajectory that's about to go up and not has already gone up, and you got to wait even longer. So yep.
We're definitely in the road with the children, getting the children to read it. 4-year-old watches it, Larry. We're gonna get there. I mean, they see us doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Noah
eventually
with me every Tuesday. He gonna get it.
we're gonna talk the game, understand the game, and it's just
Yep.
gonna be like casual conversation.
Yep.
Guys,
Yep.
I think we're gonna have Friday night dinner, and we're gonna
Hey,
chill. And
sound good to me.
y'all, thank y'all, man. How
We
many? We had
appreciate it.
28 in here tonight. I enjoyed it, man. If y'all have questions, you got my email, you got Mo's email,
Yep. Reach
the
out.
charts class, uh, whatever y'all need. Come on to the Sock Scouts, man. And we get
You
on here,
got
and
it.
I'll open up the room every morning, the trading room.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a little piece, little free time last couple of days and get tight, but I'll try to go every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Same Zoom link, guys. So we'll catch y'all. Oh, Monday is a holiday.
Yes, markets closed on Monday. Thank you for saying. I wanted to make that point. Markets closed on Monday.
Unless
So
you're trading Bitcoin.
yeah.
Hell with it.
And see, man, and you talking about, the week, man, this been the most boringest week for me. I'm just sitting in Ford. I ain't did nothing. I got like 3 or 4 crypto coins, and I don't need to do nothing. I'm just sitting.
Cool.
They just moving.
Well, man,
So
we're gonna make it happen, guys. Thank y'all. Be safe out there, and last one. Build your list, your wish list of stocks that you want moving forward from 2021 on through the decade,
mhm,
because we're coming off the bottoms of Rona. And one
mhm,
thing that I made the mistake of, I keep telling Mo, last time the financial crisis hit, I shorted Lehman, Bear Stearns. I made money as a young trader, new trader, but I didn't buy the stocks at the bottom. I kept that money in cash. And you could get those companies right now, certain companies, they're trying to make that comeback, but find those
Ford,
companies that you want to have in your portfolio for years to come and
mhm,
start doing that research and build it. Don't let this opportunity pass up, guys.
yep,
Okay?
yep, yep, yep,
All
yep.
right. I'm out.
Inauguration day, I'm expecting volatility. That's as simple and best as I can give you. I'm expecting volatility.
I had a spot put. I'm in hedge. I exited and got a little profit, but I'm not worried, but I am expecting volatility as well too. So,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
guys, y'all be safe. Hit us up,
Word.
and I'll post a replay in Stock Scouts. I'll try to post it in Coinda, BSI, and
Mhm.
Stock Scouts as well, and
Word up.
Nubian investors. So,
Word.
all right, y'all.
Word. My DCG folks, I'll be with y'all on Sunday. Let's make it happen.
Peace, peace.
Yeah. All right, my brother. It's been fun.
Hey, you too, man. I'll catch you Sunday.
You know it.
All right.
All right. Y'all have a great one.